Raye Jin.
Howdy guys!
Howdy guys!
Today Jin and I want to talk about how we ended up on Korea's most beloved American reality TV show. A couple of you guys already noticed and you left comments, so kudos to you guys. But for the other 99.999% of viewers who have no idea what I'm talking about, Jin, care to elaborate?
저희는 한국이랑 미국에서 굉장히 유명한 TV쇼인 Pawn Stars, 그러니까 전당포의 사나이들에 출연하게 됐어요. 근데 한국 사람들 이거 발음할 때 굉장히 조심하셔야 돼요. 이게 간혹 위키피디아 같은 데 가면은 폰스타스 이렇게 쓰여 있는데 그렇게 얘기하면은 Porn Stars, 포르노 배우가 돼버리니까 Pawn Stars라고 해야 돼요.
Pawn Stars. Pawn Stars. Like, you can feel your breath. Pawn Stars.
They did it on purpose so that like, yeah.
Exactly. Just it's a play on words to be funny. So Pawn Stars is usually filmed in Las Vegas, but they do also have another series called Pawn Stars to America, where they travel to different cities across the United States and film a new episode in every city that they stop in. And somehow they decided that Minneapolis was going to be a good place to stop for one of their episodes. And if you know anything about Minneapolis, it's a very small, big city. Not a whole lot happens in Minneapolis. Certainly not that many TV shows come and film in Minneapolis. So you can imagine how excited people were. It was all over the news, all over social media, word of mouth was crazy. And Jin and I really wanted to get in on a piece of the action. Luckily, it was super easy to sign up to be an extra for the Minneapolis episode. What did we do?
We just have to click the link that they provided.
You just click a link, fill out like your name, a little bit about you, and upload a photo. And then they said, oh, if we choose you, you'll get an email. We got an email like less than 24 hours later saying they approved us to be on the show. So that was super exciting. So we got to film with Pawn Stars actually last August. It was like 2 days before we went on a road trip to go visit my family, which you guys watched. And our filming day was the hottest day of the summer. Oh my gosh, it was so hot. But before I get into more about the actual filming process, I want to let you guys know, like, behind the scenes before filming happened, how we prepared for our big debut role as background extras on Pawn Stars to America. So once we were approved, they sent us an email with basically instructions on how we were supposed to present ourselves on the day of filming. It was pretty basic stuff, right? Like our outfits. Care to explain our outfits?
저희가 한국적인 옷을 입고 싶었는데 거기 로고 들어간 옷이나 글자가 들어가면 절대 안 된다고 그래서 그냥 플레인한 무지티를 입고 갔어요. 근데 검은색 옷 같은 거 입고 가면은 티가 안 나니까 일부러 좀 밝은 색상의 막 핑크색, 노란색 이런 옷을 입고 갔던 것 같아요.
So the other important instructions for the day of filming were related to bringing an item. Okay, Pawn Stars, the purpose of the show is you are selling items to the Pawn Stars.
Yes.
Jin and I were not there to sell stuff. We were just background extras. But even though we were background extras, they wanted us to bring items with us. So it says that we as background extras are there to, like, obviously fill in the background and look interesting. And it said we have two options for items that we can bring. The first option is we can bring a real item that we would maybe be interested in selling to the Pawn Stars if they're interested in buying it.
Yeah.
Okay, so it says, oh, they can buy it and give you cash on the spot if it's good enough. However, there's no guarantee. And don't go there expecting to have your item sold, but it's strongly encouraged to bring something unique, interesting, and valuable. It says you could even get the chance to be featured on the show talking about your item if the Pawn Stars really love it. Or if you do not have a unique item to sell, you must have any item in your hands to hold in the background of the shot. Emphasis on any, it's capitalized and in red font. Any item in hand. This is very important, you guys, because as background extras, our role was crucial, wasn't it? We had to be there and look interesting, and we had to have items in our hands.
Since I'm gonna be the first Korean to be on the show, so I really wanted to bring Korean stuff.
But we don't have any unique expensive, valuable, historic, any
Nothing.
type of thing that's Korean. So we were like, what should we do? I don't think we have anything valuable. So you pulled out your phone and you, hello, who did you call?
Mr. President.
Mr. Korean American Association President, could you please help Jin and I?
한인 회장님께서 그 집에 좀 한국스러운 기념품들이 있더라고요. 그래서 혹시 저희가 쇼에 나가는데 좀 빌려주실 수 없냐고 제가 여쭤봤더니 흔쾌히 빌려주셨어요.
They were also not valuable.
He said it's just a souvenir, not a legit one. It's just 고려청자 looking base and 한지 dolls.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. We picked those items because one, it fit the requirement of having something that's like substantial enough that it looks interesting in the shot. And two, if they filmed close-ups, it would maybe be like representative of Korea. Not like, oh, it's not gonna be like, oh, that's Chinese or that's Japanese. It's like, that's Korean. Because the hanbok and stuff on the outfits.
Especially made with Korean paper.
Exactly. So we got those items. We showed up for our day of filming in 115-degree heat in a hot parking lot with no shade. The production crew came and took our photos with our items so that they could match us later when they're editing. And then the excitement really began. Jin and I, along with the other background extras, were led inside of a historic building in Minneapolis where they had already begun filming for the day. They had kind of set up like a temporary pawn shop inside of the mansion with different tables for the pawn stars themselves to purchase items from. And you guys might be curious if they actually are purchasing stuff, if it's like really real.
거기 어떤 할아버지가 $500짜리 지폐를 가지고 오셨는데 $1,000에 팔고 기뻐하시는 모습도 저희가 봤어요. 그래서 진짜로 팔기도 해요, 이렇게.
And from what I heard from other extras who were there that day, it seems like when we had our photo taken with our items in the parking lot before we entered the set, someone, maybe the production team, maybe it was the Pawn Stars themselves, pre-screened all the items and then sort of created a list of who they were interested in filming. Oh, I think Jin and I's items were maybe not initially interesting enough, or they maybe raised some red flags with the production team because they did not let us know that they wanted to talk to us, and they did not let us know that they were interested in buying from us, which is totally fine. The whole process there was basically Jin and I had to stand in the background. We had to mingle with the other people there. Like I said, some people I think were already there specifically to sell. Some people were extras that were possibly going to sell, and then there were people like Jin and I that were just there, existing. So it's like a normal film set. Many people have never been on a film set before, but basically they have people with cameras, they've got people with boom microphones, they've got like, the producer usually has like a sign that's like, everybody quiet, and oh, you guys are being too loud. And they just told us in the background to talk with the other people there quietly and look excited about each other's items. But the thing is, we were not there for just 1 hour. We were there for like 5 hours talking to the same people. So we didn't know what to do at one point. So Jin, what were you doing?
So we did like this with our own product that we brought. Like, what is this? Like,
we were just like, ooh, look at this vase. Wow, these dolls. Amazing. However, there was one really traumatic part, and I've been so stressed about it since we filmed that day in August. Like, I was waking up with nightmares all the time because that moment really just traumatized me. And
the filming crew were like going to every table and then asking, let them explain their products that they brought.
But not every table. Only the tables with interesting items, okay? So we were standing at a table. There was a guy with like a little toy car, a guy with a Ghostbusters thing, and then there were Jin and I's items, the doll and the vase. We were just standing there casually when the film crew rushed up on us. They made us stand nicely, and then they put the camera on our face and said, you guys need to explain your items and act like you're friends with each other. Jin automatically, he's like, nope, that's on you, Ray. I'm backing out of here. And he just stood behind me.
Because if you say it, we have more chance to be broadcasted. If I say, what if I make a mistake? They're gonna just edit it out. So I let Ray
No, you threw me under the bus. Just admit it. It's fine. Jin's like, nope. And he just stood behind me and he made me go. And the other two guys, they weren't looking too excited. So I had to speak first. And again, they emphasized you can bring any item to the filming. I brought Korean souvenirs. Yeah. I panicked, guys, because when those people came up on me and they told me I had to speak, I froze. So what did I say? Oh my God, I said, well, these are really interesting. These are gifts from the president of the Korean American Association. And let me tell you why they're so interesting. This vase is from the Joseon dynasty. I don't know. It just came out of me. I don't know why I said that. It was just a souvenir vase.
그냥 레이가 막 지어냈어요.
And then the dolls, I was like, and these dolls? These are traditional Korean wedding dolls made out of Korean paper, handmade representative dolls, and they're wearing traditional hanbok, Korean outfits.
You explained for like 30 seconds, but
God.
they only edited out to like 5 seconds.
Guys, I've been panicking thinking they're gonna use that clip for this episode and I'm gonna make a fool of myself, because if you're Korean, you know for a fact that vase is not from the Joseon dynasty. That vase is from a souvenir shop in Gyeongju or something.
레이가 8개월 동안 진짜 소가리를 엄청나게 했어요. 막 밤에 막 깨고. 근데 편집된 걸 보니까 그냥 짧게 이렇게 나가서 굉장히 다행이라고 생각해요.
So actually these two are really interesting. They were gifts from the president of the Korean American Association of Minnesota.
And they didn't even use the bass part, 고려청자. They didn't even use
they
it.
only showed the dolls. Also, they didn't even film me from my good side. I'm kind of offended. You can't even see my face because my hair was just like covering the side of my head. But that's okay. I was on TV.
Yeah.
And I represented Korea. Even if I did it badly, I tried. Guys, I tried my best. I represented Korea. And the edit was so funny.
Why?
Because actually, I feel kind of bad about this, but I presented Korean souvenirs, right?
Yeah.
It's not fancy stuff. Somehow they included it in the final edit and it made it sound fancy. When just before that in the video, some other lady had a really pretty bowl and they made a comment like, this is Chinatown, China.
So what do we got here?
I think it's from the Qing dynasty.
But it's more like Chinatown Chinese.
You brought us garbage. Why didn't they say that about my stuff?
Because they brought the Korean husband.
Yeah, I think you were the factor.
If you only showed up by yourself, they're gonna be like, oh, this doesn't look like Korean. This looks like 남대문 Korean.
So I think that my presentation of those items was so elite that it caught the eye of the producers. You know why I think that? Because the producer, he kept talking to us.
Yeah.
And at one point he was like, Rick would like to learn more about your items. So do you remember that?
Yeah.
So we just had our items on a table and all of a sudden Rick, you guys know Rick, the bald guy. Rick walks out, he doesn't look at me, he doesn't say anything to me. Or if he did look at me, I wouldn't know because I was too nervous. I didn't look at him. I just looked down the whole time. And the producer was like, explain your items to Rick. So then I gave the same spiel. Oh, this vase is from the Joseon dynasty and these are handmade traditional Korean wedding dolls. And he said nothing and then he walked away.
He probably knew that it's from 남대문 market.
Oh. But at least I stood in his air.
You sounded really smart.
Somehow, I'm very good at thinking on my feet. Because we had those experiences, then we're like, oh wait, they also have an appraisal table in the back. You can have your items appraised on the spot and they might buy it from you, like separate from the actual Pawn Stars themselves. You could just sell it in the back table.
Yeah.
So Jin was like, maybe these are worth something.
Yeah, I was gonna sell it, but I just wanna know if they know or not.
Yeah, I just want to see. Jin was like, maybe I can scam them. So we had to stand in this line in the back to get our stuff appraised. And while we were in line, there was a guy with a really interesting item.
Yeah. He brought the North Korean coins and propaganda stuff.
And Jin was like, why do you have this? I'm Korean and I don't even have
He
this.
said he's the owner of a pawn shop in Minneapolis.
A porn shop or a pawn
Pawn
shop?
Pawn shop. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just teasing. You said it right. So that was interesting, and we waited in line the whole time. And then Jin, as soon as we approached the counter, Jin, of course, he's like, "Nope, I'm letting Raye do this."
I didn't say anything. Just
Why
in case.
me? Why do I have to do
They
it?
researched so hard on eBay or something,
Yeah.
and they said, "I don't know about this product," and just didn't say anything. So he probably didn't want to say it because he wasn't sure about the item. So
Yeah.
they're just like, maybe not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole time we were within like 5 feet of the Pawn Stars leads, which was kind of cool. You got to see them up close, and they're exactly the same as how you see them in the show. Very professional. Everyone was really nice. Oh, and one of the crew members, the photographer or videographer, he was kind of interesting.
Yeah. He said he really likes Korea, and he lived in Busan. So his stage name is Kimchi.
Yeah. He had a hat that said kimchi.
Backpack?
Battery
Yeah,
pack or
yeah.
mic pack said kimchi on it.
Yeah. So
He's
he-
not
yeah.
Korean.
Yeah.
He's just a guy.
Yeah.
So that was really interesting. But probably the coolest part of all is the PD, for some reason, liked us. Maybe, again, maybe I just impressed everyone with my Joseon Dynasty spiel. But he was like, "Oh, you guys are YouTubers, right? Like, oh, you guys make sure you go talk to Chumlee over there."
Yeah.
And so we even got a selfie with Chumlee, and
He said, Raye Jin.
we have a video, so we will show that to you now.
What's it called?
Raye Jin.
Are you going to put it on your YouTube channel?
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Raye Jin.
Raye Jin.
So from the sign up to be a background extra, I saw that they were filming for like 6 days in the Minneapolis area. We filmed just a 1 day for like maybe 4 to 5 hours, free. We didn't get any money, no food.
No food.
We had like one small break.
But they had water.
Yeah, oh, we did have water. So, wow. However, somehow we were in 1 whole minute of the episode. 1 whole minute, and I spoke.
Yeah.
So that's actually a big deal
Yeah.
for an unpaid background extra.
그래서 혹시 저희가 어떻게 출연했는지 보시고 싶으신 분들은 Pawn Stars Do America
Season 2, Episode 12.
거기 들어가 보시면 저희가 1분이나 등장해요.
Just keep an eye out for Jin going like, "Ooh, look at this vase. Wow." And then sometimes he's just wandering around the background. Like you can tell he has no idea what to do. And like, I'm just talking to everyone, just trying to be friendly. But the #1 rule was you're not allowed to look
Oh yeah.
at them. You're not allowed to look at like Rick, for example. You're not allowed to look at Rick, and you're not allowed to look in the camera. So if you were obviously turning your body towards the camera, they would be like, "Nope, can't do that." They'd stop filming and they'd make you turn around. So sometimes you just see my back.
Yeah.
But my back is my back. It's me. I was
Or
there.
my side.
Oh yeah, Jin's side made quite the appearance. And my best one yet is Rick's head. Like there's a scene where it's just Rick's head, but in the background you see my face. I have a photo with Rick. I have a screenshot with Rick.
Yeah.
Hey, it was a fun experience, and we don't get many opportunities like this in Minneapolis because, like I said, not that many TV shows film here. But if you live in LA or New York, you can be a background extra anytime you want. So it was a cool experience, and even cooler since Koreans love Pawn Stars.
Yeah.
And we represented Korea on Pawn Stars.
저희 전당포 사나이에 영원히 박제됐어요. 이제 되돌릴 수도 없어요.
So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this random story. But if you watch that episode, let us know how many times you spotted us. Let us know the best, most funniest one. Please tell me how impressive I sounded when I talked about these are gifts from the president of the Korean American Association of Minnesota.
You sounded better, but I feel bad that they only kept like this much out of this.
Darn it. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, say, can you see?